Hello and welcome to another episode of the Finding Serenity in the Midst of Chaos podcast. Today, we are talking about how to say no without feeling guilty. Well, stay tuned because this is a very important topic which we covered before, but today we're going to specifically talk about the feelings that create in you when you say no to people and learn how to say no without feeling guilty. So stay tuned. Hi, Ian.
Hello, Chulai.
How are you?
Oh, I'm very good, thank you. Yes.
Yet
And
another
you?
great topic. I'm fine, thank you very much.
Yes.
Really
Yeah.
excited to talk about today's topic.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's a good one. It's got all sorts of thoughts going in my head, really, as I sort of think back of the times and opportunities I've had to say no to people and how I've done it, how poorly I've done it, really.
Really? Do
Many
you want to give an
cases.
example?
Yeah, okay. I'm going back to my student days now. It was just a thing where me and my friend quite often, when during the summer holidays, would go out on a Friday night, just sort of cruising around town as you do when you're a sort of teenager, with young 20s, whatever. And this one particular Friday night, I just didn't want to go out. I wanted to stay in. There was something I wanted to listen to on the radio, a few bits and pieces I wanted to do on my own, and I well, what happened? He came to the door and I was honest and I said, look, I really don't want to go out tonight. And I thought, this is not what I would say. Oh, mate, I'm sorry. I've got a terrible headache. And the old acting would come on, I'd be doing all this business and I'd have a towel there. And then once he'd gone, it was right. Okay. And that's the kind of way I would, but I decided to be on it. And he got quite upset about it in a way that I didn't want to go out. He said, oh, can't we listen to the radio thing in the car? So, well, you can't pick that station up in the car. Perhaps we go out tomorrow, Dave, instead. Oh, yeah, I might be watching the telly tomorrow, and off he went. And I thought, oh, no, I can't do that to Dave again. I'm just going to either have to just do what he wants or make an excuse. I can't upset him like that again. The one occasion I decided to do it properly and it backfired on me. So it just reinforced in my mind, you can't be honest with people. You've got to, you just have to carry on making up excuses.
That is a great example, Ian. Really great example.
But
I know
it was a
doesn't.
long time ago, I must say,
Yes.
before we go any further. And I'm very different about it now and would approach it a lot better. Anyway, I won't say any more about it at this stage. That was my example, but
it was a great example because you said you'd have normally made up an excuse.
Correct.
As opposed to just saying outright no.
Correct, definitely.
And we're talking about without feeling guilty. Why does saying no to somebody make us feel guilty? And in your example, the answer to the question was, I didn't want to make him feel bad.
Correct. And I made him feel bad.
Oh, I'm going to pick you up on that.
Oh, I know you are.
You did not make him feel bad. He chose to feel bad about your answer.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I'm finally getting some counsel on this topic after all these years.
After all this year.
Please continue.
Well, look, we cannot make anybody feel anything. I mean, as it's a very common saying, you made me feel bad. Well, what you did, for example, in this occasion, saying no, being honest and saying, no, I really don't feel like doing it because this is what I'm going to do instead.
Yes.
Obviously, he felt bad about that because maybe he wanted to go out there and then with you on whatever. And
that's right. He did. Yeah, absolutely.
And he wasn't expecting for you to say no. And because you said no, and he felt rejected. We talked about rejection before. He felt rejected probably because of whatever reason that he was going on, is that he had an expectation that he was going to go out with you. And you said no. And of course, not only did he choose to feel bad because of those reasons, you then chose to feel guilty about saying no. And there's no win-win, right?
No, that's right. No, it's lose-lose. It's absolutely lose-lose. There's no question. Yeah.
Yeah. And then as a result, how do we ever say no to anybody without feeling this guilt? Well, first of all, you can't make anybody feel anything. that, let's just get that straight. So wherever you're listening, whether you're watching this on YouTube, whether you're listening to this on any of your favorite podcast platform, I want you to understand now, you can't make anybody feel anything. Anybody who feels something is to do with their own feelings and beliefs and emotions going through at that time. And in this case, Ian's friend Dave was expecting to go out and he didn't expect to hear no. Regardless of what the reason was, he felt rejected, and because of that he felt bad. And of course Ian felt bad because Dave felt bad, but it's not Ian's responsibility to take on those feelings that Dave is feeling. I mean, it's sounding like an agony out right now, but I thought this is a great example to give in this occasion. We take on other people's feelings. And we don't need to feel.
It's good.
Yeah, we don't need to feel guilty about it, but we do. So how do we say no without feeling guilty? Well, first of all, maybe rather than just turning up at, saying no right there and then, say no before, so he doesn't come all the way to your door to go out. Perhaps that was something that you could have been a bit more delicate about.
Yes.
Imagine if you went to his door with the expectation you're going to go out, have a great Friday night, and say that he said no. For you, from where you're standing, no good reason. I'm just going to listen to the radio. Well, just like he said, I'm going to wash my hair, therefore I can't go out with you. So at least have a, I mean, of course, in your mind, you had a good reason. You just did not feel like going out, and you don't have to, right? But
that's right.
Understanding what he's feeling, what he might be going through, and putting yourself into other person's shoes, maybe say no 2 days before, knowing that this is an expectation from that person.
That's very good, actually. Yeah. So what you're saying is, as soon as you know that there's a change to the norm, if you like, a change of plan, as soon as you know you want to do something differently, flag it up soon, flag it up early, flag it up as soon as it crops up in your own situation.
So it's managing expectations of the other party, because it's always the expectations that makes us fall down from height. Because when we have high expectations, yes, I'm going to go out with my mate on a Friday night, and that doesn't happen, no matter what you say, it's going to sound like an excuse at that point in time, whether it was honest, whether it's a headache or whatever. And perhaps he has more compassion if you actually had a headache versus you just wanted to listen to the radio. It sounds like a lame excuse, even standing here, but I know at the time it was a valid reason for you to not do it.
I mean, it was absolutely honest. But because, we think, oh, surely you've got to have something better to do than that. I mean, that's, it wasn't just, I want to listen to any old rate. I wanted to listen to something specifically that I knew I wanted to listen to, that we couldn't hear in the car, because I knew that I had to have a contour aerial to get this distant station and whatever. Yeah, it was all, I mean, it's a long story, but it wasn't just a question of, but then again, if I didn't feel like going out and I didn't have any other plans, but I just decided, actually, look, I'm really not in the mood, whatever, then surely I'm entitled to
Of course you are.
And
that's exactly what we talked about. No is a complete sentence. You don't have to follow the no with something else, but then
you beat me to it. I was waiting for the opportunity to throw that one in. No, that's one of the things that have made the most difference to me, I think, in working with you, because, we're working for other people and to help other people. But I've learned from you as we've worked together, and that's one of the biggest things I've learned from you. No is a complete sentence. Yeah. So I was just waiting for it, but you beat me to it. So well done.
Excellent. Good. Yes. And so it's how to say no without feeling guilty. First, manage other people's expectations, because the guilt you're feeling is because you don't want to disappoint somebody else. Even though you can't be responsible for other people's feelings, you still kind of feel that. So manage their expectations, manage it in advance. If you know that you don't want to go out that time, give them a call, send them a text. In this day and age, you can't have, obviously, in the time that you this happened, it was a long time ago, and then you probably didn't have the means to do
thanks,
that.
July. No text, no mobiles. I get it. Yeah, you're right.
But now we have absolutely no excuse to disappoint somebody in that way. So
that's right.
You can manage the expectation, manage the timeline, and you don't have to say. And if it is close enough friend, they will understand you know what, it's okay, we can do something else instead. And if you're really struggling to say no, just say, I would really love to go out with you, but today I prefer to stay in because of this. And you know, if no feels like a big resistance, if you're feeling
Yeah.
really big resistance towards saying no, just say it in this way. And same thing happens when children ask, oh, can we do this, can we do that? And you know, automatic to say no, 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 no. Just say, yes, we can do it at this time, instead of constantly saying no and them hearing no and having this sort of battle. Yes, of course you can do that at this time, rather than right at this moment in time. So it's kind of managing their expectations, still saying yes, but it doesn't have to happen right now. So it's kind of, then you don't feel guilty for disappointing somebody, but also you've still said yes, you didn't actually say no.
Yeah,
so
that's it. Yeah.
And then there was another aspect, which is as you probably remember, in all those years ago, the assertiveness course and stuff we've been to.
Yeah. Oh, you know what you just said, that the way you just put that without saying no, I thought that's an assertive statement. That is, yeah. That just took me back to my assertiveness training from corporate days. Absolutely,
yes.
yeah. Bang on.
But you know, there are so many different ways you can say no without actually saying the word no. You know, it's like that yes or no game. You can say no without saying no.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's good. Yeah, I think I've just come back to the course. I think I've still got my notes from that course, because I have to say, you know, we can look back and laugh at some of these courses that we went on, but that one really, I think, changed me the most. And I remember the instructor saying that probably I was one of the people over the 3 or 4 days that had changed the most in the group through, you know, listening and practicing and doing what was on the course. So it was a really good one, and I was able to put it into practice in life.
That's good. And you know, until you implement something that you learned, it's probably is worthless really anyway. So
true. Yeah.
One of the things that blew my mind in that training was that, you know, sometimes even though you're not an aggressive person, you can come across as being aggressive without even saying no, because you're not saying no, but you really want to say no. Instead, you come up with all these other things. You're triggered and you're finding it really defensive, and that comes across as aggressive, which, you know, never in a million years did I think that would be the case. And I don't necessarily see myself as an aggressive person, but that sort of frustration of not being able to say no was creating that negative feelings, and I was reacting to that negative feelings inside of me and reflecting that onto the other person, and ended up being, you know, looking aggressive, which was huge. And this is why, you know, we can practice assertiveness, and just like any skill in life, this all takes practice.
Yes. Yeah.
And sometimes the guilt comes from the fact that you're disappointing somebody, and the only way to manage that is to, first of all, not take responsibility for other person's feelings. You know, they can be disappointed, it's sad, but you know, there's nothing you can do about it. But the thing you can do about it is to just go and manage that expectation well in advance, in order to make sure that that's, you know, that person is going to understand. And if they don't understand, again, there's nothing you can do about that. At least if you know that you've done your part, you can reduce the feeling of guilt in yourself, and that's going to help you.
Yes, makes sense. Yeah, I get that one.
Yeah, and one of the reasons why we don't say no, especially in the case of our boss, you know, oh, I need you to make this presentation like by 3 days from now, and in the meantime you've already taken a day off many, you know, weeks ago, you have your child's school play and whatever else going on. Oh my God, because they put that expectation onto you right now, and you feel like you can't say no, because if you did, you don't feel like you're doing your job well, you don't feel like you are good enough for your job, and whatever else that you think that they might think of you. All of a sudden you just have this, oh my God, I must say yes. But it doesn't mean you have to say yes there and then. You can say, well, does it have to be done at this time? And why does it have to be done at this time? Or I've brought it up to here. Is it okay if I just do it this way, or delegate this? You know, there's so many different ways that you can manage rather than just saying yes immediately and getting yourself and other people into, you know, all sorts of situations that you don't want to be in. Because then if you say yes, what you're really saying is that I'm going to say yes to whatever you ask me to do because I don't believe that I have the right to say no to you.
Yeah.
And you just
Yeah,
said
I get that.
earlier, it's everybody's right to be able to say no, you know?
Mm.
So we
But we really
train.
don't believe it, do we? We really
Well,
haven't
that's
quite
right.
got that in the fullest sense. Yeah.
And it's funny,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's the fear of rejection
Yeah.
in a way that when we reject someone, we feel rejected because of how they feel. And then the guilt comes in. Oh, I
That's
made
right.
that
Yeah.
person feel sad and upset and whatever. Again, you didn't make anybody feel anything, but you clearly haven't managed the situation well enough to then create those guilty feelings. So you don't have to feel guilty about your choices. All you have to do is to manage them in advance so that you don't disappoint other people. And if people are disappointed in whatever way, then it's out of your hands because you're not responsible for other people's feelings.
That's right. That's the bit, and you know that we really do have to make sure that we know that, don't we? And that's it. That we can accept that, and that's part of our reality. That, you know, once we manage the expectation. I mean, I hadn't. You know, that was a bolt out the blue. Oh, ready then? No, I'm not coming out. You know, bang. Oh, what? Oh, I'm not used to this. You know, that's that could have been managed a lot better.
And then, you know what? There are some people who have absolutely no respect or understanding or even awareness of personal boundaries, and they will just put things onto you like right in the last minute in a way that you can't even say no. And then if you continue to keep saying yes or not respect, they are going to not respect your boundaries. You know, in some cases, my husband, for example, have phone calls, people say, oh, can we have it on a Saturday? It's like, no, we can't have it on a Saturday because I don't work on Saturdays. Saturday is my family time. We can have it on a Monday and whatever. So it's just kind of setting those boundaries and sticking to them, and not just training yourself, but training others to treat you in that way, because we essentially train people how to treat us. If you keep saying yes to every request that comes left, right, and center, then they know that they can ask you anything, and because you'll do it.
And they lose respect for you, and you know you're not going to get anywhere. That's right. I have experienced that. I've been on the end of that before, and but don't worry, listeners, there's life after it. You know, I'm still here to tell the tale. It's not the end of the world. We can get over it. I've got over it, and you know, in a way, it's hard for me to. I'm pleased that it's hard for me to think of any other examples, because I think actually I'm probably better I've probably learned how to do what we're talking about today a lot more than
in the times,
you know, than in times gone by. So I have to go right back to that example to, you know, to enable us to talk about what we wanted to talk about today. But today I would do it differently. And
I mean, you actually recently had an example yourself, didn't you? With you know, you wanted to do something specific for yourself and a journey, and you had to say no to somebody, a family member who wanted to come with you, and you really wanted to have that time for yourself.
Correct.
And you managed it because we talked about it, and we said, look, how about if you approached it and help her understand where you're coming from?
Yes.
And it doesn't feel like to her that you're making an excuse. And
so
then
it's
it actually
not that it's it's understand, you know, I want to do that because you know, and you understand that, don't you, because of that time when you went on your own, etc., and you had a really good time, and you know, that's what I want to experience. So it's nothing personal against you, it's just I want that experience, and that's what I plan to do. That was the kind of gist
it
of
it. And it went really well, didn't it? And it worked out for both of you perfectly. So
she's still talking to me, and life's wonderful. I'm going on holiday with her next week, actually.
That's good. So it's,
you know,
there's no guilt involved, there's no disappointment from anybody. So we can manage that. So we can
it's doable. We
can say no without upsetting other people, without feeling guilty about it, just by managing those expectations in advance and being confident with our boundaries. And talking of boundaries, next week we're going to talk about boundaries, Ian.
Great. Okay, that's really good. So
You were a bit stunned there for a minute.
I was, yes. I think we froze actually on the screens for a minute, so it was a bit of a bit of a stunning and a freezing, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So we're setting the boundary for the end of the discussion today, by the sounds of it. And,
we are indeed. Well, if you haven't already subscribed to our channel, not only can you listen to every episode of podcast since, for a long time, 7-8 months ago, but you will be able to get notified in the videos I'll be posting coming up as well. So have a great week and speak to you soon. Bye, Ian.
Bye.